Let's talk real for a second. You're working 9 to 5, maybe longer. You're showing up, you're putting in the hours, but your bank account? Yeah, it doesn't exactly scream freedom. What if I told you there are ETFs, just four of them, that could replace your salary entirely? Not tomorrow, not next week, but over time, they could absolutely set you free. Let's break it down. This isn't a get-rich-quick pitch. This is about smart investing, long-term thinking, and building a cash flow machine that works while you sleep. So grab your coffee, or whatever keeps you going, when let's get into it. First, let's define what we mean by replace your salary. Say you're making $3,000, $5,000, or even $7,000 a month. To replace that with ETFs, you'd need either 1. ETFs that pay dividends and pay them regularly, or 2. ETFs that grow and you sell a small portion every month to generate your own paycheck. Now, ideally, we want a mix: stable income plus capital appreciation. So here are 4 ETFs, chosen for monthly income, reliability, and long-term growth, that can potentially do just that. ETF number 1, JEPI, JPMorgan, Equity Premium Income ETF. This one's the darling of income investors right now. GPI isn't your typical dividend ETF. It combines high-quality U.S. large-cap stocks with an option income overlay. Basically, it writes covered calls to generate consistent cash. The result? A monthly dividend yield that hovers around 7% to 10% annually. As of mid-2025, it's averaging around 44 cents per share monthly, or over $5.20 annually. So what does that mean? If you owned 1,000 shares of JEPI, roughly a $56,000 investment, you'd be earning about $440 per month in income. That's almost $5,300 a year, completely passively. And here's the kicker: it's fairly low volatility. JEPI doesn't chase hype. It's built for income and downside protection. And in uncertain markets, that matters. ETF number 2, SCHD, Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF. You've heard of this one, and for good reason. SCHD is like that friend who always shows up. It invests in high-quality, dividend-paying companies with strong fundamentals. Think Pepsi, Texas Instruments, Coca-Cola, and Merck. It doesn't pay monthly, but the quarterly dividends are consistent and growing. As of 2025, it yields around 3.6%, with a strong 5-year dividend growth rate of over 11%. But SCHD isn't just about dividends. It also delivers capital appreciation. Since launch, SCHD has averaged around 12% annual total return, including dividends. Let's say you had $100,000 in SCHD. That could give you around $3,600 a year in dividends. And if the fund grows even 6 to 8%, that's another $6,000 to $8,000 in paper gains. So you could either live off the dividends or sell a small chunk each month to simulate a salary. Either way, SCHD is a pillar: reliable, tax-efficient, and built for long-term wealth. ETF number 3, QYLD, Global X, Nasdaq 100, covered call ETF. This one? Controversial, but powerful if used correctly. QYLD is all about income. It takes the Nasdaq 100 and writes covered calls on it every single month. The result? Huge yields, typically between 11% to 13%. So yeah, you're not buying this for growth. QYLD trades mostly sideways, but the monthly income is massive. Imagine this: with just $50,000 invested in QYLD, you could potentially earn $500 to $550 a month every month. That's over $6,000 a year passively. But, and it's a big but, QYLD does sacrifice growth. The covered call strategy caps your upside, so while the Nasdaq flies, QYLD walks. That's why this ETF works best in combination with others like SCHD or JEPI. It's your monthly paycheck, not your rocket ship. Use it smart, and it can absolutely be part of replacing your income. ETF number 4, VTI, Vanguard. Total Stock Market ETF. Now let's zoom out. You don't just want income, you want freedom, you want wealth. That's where VTI comes in. This ETF gives you exposure to the entire US stock market, from giants like Apple and Amazon to smaller companies with explosive potential. VTI doesn't pay a high dividend around 1.4%, but it's a growth engine. Historically, it's returned about 10% annually over the long run. So how do you use VTI to replace your salary? Simple. The 4% rule. If you have a large portfolio, say $750,000, you can withdraw 4% annually or $30,000 per year without running out for 30-plus years. With VTI, you're playing the long game. You build, you grow, and eventually you don't need a paycheck because your portfolio pays you. Combine that with JEPI or QYLD for monthly income, and you've got a real strategy. So, can these ETFs really replace your salary? Let's do some napkin math. Let's say your monthly goal is $3,000. Here's one possible combo. $50,000 in QYLD gives approximately $500 per month. $56,000 in JEPI gives approximately $440 per month. $100,000 in SCHD gives approximately $300 per month. Quarterly payout, annualized. $300,000 in VTI gives approximately $12,000 per year, or $1,000 per month, via 4% rule. That's over $2,200 per month, passively. Now add in some reinvested gains, dividend growth, and you're easily at or above $3,000 a month in a few years. The magic here is diversification. QYLD gives you fat monthly checks. JEPI gives you income with stability. SCHD gives you growing dividends and stock growth. And VTI builds long-term wealth. No single ETF will do it all. But together, these four can absolutely replace a paycheck. Final thoughts? Replacing your salary with ETFs isn't a fantasy. It's a formula. It takes time. It takes consistency. But with the right plan, the right funds, and a long-term view, it's entirely doable. So the next time your boss sends a quick task at 4:59 p.m., just remember, there's another way, one where your money works and you don't have to. Start small, be consistent, let compound interest do the heavy lifting. And hey, that if this video got you thinking differently about income and investing, do your future self a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around. We've got more real, no-fluff financial talk coming up right here on Money Stick Unfiltered. Your salary is temporary, but financial freedom, that can be forever.